Welcome back to Mcoc Al Bundy Rules. I got the final walkthrough for On the Road to Uncollected as I've gone back and done Act 5.1 and 5.2. This is going to be 5.2.6. Last thing you need to complete to get that Uncollected. We're going to look at this first fight. I'm going to go Kang. We have Role Reversal, which we've had throughout 5.2. We also have Bane. We had last time as well. We also had an aggressive heavies, which is actually beneficial to us because we want to be able to bait stuff out, and I personally like that node. So Bane, I explained it pretty heavily in 5.2.5. If you have not watched that one, I would recommend watching because I go over Bane really thoroughly if you're having a hard time. I'll readdress Bane a little bit throughout this walkthrough as well, but probably not as thoroughly as I did in 5.2.5 because I don't want to overly bore those that have already listened to all that. But basically on class relations, first let's talk about, we're going to have the opposite on the relations. So Kang is a tech, meaning a mutant would actually have a class advantage with this node. And a cosmic who would normally have a class advantage would actually have a class disadvantage. So when you see me purposely looking for class disadvantages here, that's the reason why. You're also going to look at my team, and one thing that might feel a little off the get-go is that I brought a white Magneto with me, which is the first time you've all seen him in my 5.1 or 5.2 Road to Uncollected Uncollected walkthroughs, but there's a specific reason for him. Some of you might have already figured it out. If not, I'll be getting to that reason, but you will not be seeing me using him anytime soon. In fact, for the path, I brought really my two MVPs from this Act 5.1 and 5.2. Ultron and Angela, they have been, especially Angela, they have been rocking and rolling sustainability, getting a little bit of everything done for me with these 4 stars. I've used them a lot. And what my goal is here, Collector is an infamously just bad, kind of nasty fight. It has been called for years a unigrab, money grab, yada yada yada. It is very crazy, and although as recent years has came about, newer champs or high rank champs might be able to get through that fight a little bit easier, but that's been known to be one of the more pain in the rear fights in MCOC history and a pretty big hold up to get there. So I haven't fought Collector in ages. I'm going to be very rusty. I remember him being a pain back in the days when I did have to fight him. So what I'm going to be doing is I need to save as many of my champs, and I know like a common strategy is using group revives to get through. I'm going to try to get through Collector with no revives as my goal. So I need to have as many champs available as humanly possible. I need to have my entire team. My best chance at having my entire team and at decent health will be to use my 2, at least most reliable 4 stars that I've been finding throughout Act 4, who have been Ultron, of course post buff has been amazing, and Angela also post buff. So it's kind of ironic, both of the champs I've been relying on the most are 2 of the older OG champs in the game, who were decent back in the day, but after nice buffs have become really good, really reliable. Again, watch this Bane timer. You're going to see how I time things around. You see how it just went off. As soon as that Bane timer was getting ready to switch back to me, I had an S3 saved. I couldn't time my combo exactly, so I had that special ready. As I mentioned in 5.2.5 walkthrough, I try to have a special on hand just in case I need it to switch that Bane timer back on over. Think of Bane as hot potato. Tag, you're it. Once it switches back to me, I gotta tag that defender back as soon as humanly possible. Otherwise, I'm just going to melt away at a very, very quick pace. So you always got to be watching that timer. Timing my combos, going back. You'll see me maybe back off, dex off after maybe 1 or 2 hits sometimes because I see where the timer is. I want to make sure I have enough time to keep mid combo or at least chain a special to a combo to switch the timer once the timer ends. And that's key. You need to get a hit or be in the middle of a combo, middle of attacks, while that Bane switches while that timer ends to get it back over there. Otherwise, it could take a while and you could lose a lot of damage. There are times you will see damage, you see the timer getting ready to expire, so I need to get in there right there, and you see how I switched it right back on Venom. We're using Ultron here against Venom because this is technically going to be the class advantage based on these nodes. trying to be careful. I've been fighting a little laxly daisily in some of the walkthroughs, as you notice, a little clunky at times, just kind of get it done. This one I'm going to try to be extremely careful. I'm going to be fighting far more cautiously than you might have seen in previous walkthroughs, because I really hope to have all 5 of my champs at decent health for that collector fight. Otherwise, it might get a little ugly and I might not achieve my goal in revives. I'm trying to get the entire 5-1, 5-2 road to Uncollected done with 0 revives used to roll out it, using only 4 stars. Nothing else to show that it can be done. You don't gotta muscle your way through. You can see a little bit of what worked good for me, a little bit of what didn't work good, a lot of mistakes along the way. But this one, I figure, especially for my goal here, I need to fight well. So I'm going to try to be very careful. I'm going to try to be methodical. And you're going to see a lot less rushy, crazy fighting than you might see in some of my other fighting. Just for that sake, because I don't really feel like I have a lot of wiggle room here. Normally, I'm like, you know what, I can make do. I'll be okay. Here, I know I'm going to need everything I need on that collector. And so on Old Man Logan, see him just punch in air, bait out those unblockable specials right there. You see the Bane timer. I gotta go ahead and parry and get in on him. Pass it back on over. And like I mentioned in 525, I actually like Bane a lot. It's actually one of my favorite nodes, which was the exact opposite probably back in the days. Once you first learning Bane and getting comfortable, that's why I kind of emphasize it. A lot of people hate it. A lot of people get struggle on it. Watch my timing, listen to the comments, especially in my 5.2.5 where I give a lot of tips. Heck, I even did a video last year on some tips for doing Bane. And because it can hold a lot of people, once they get used to it, it becomes extremely helpful. It helps you just continuously take damage off the defender. It's like a constant degeneration on the defender, speeds up the fights a little bit. So once you get used to it, learn how to constantly keep it on the defender, you're going to like it. Just takes a little practice. Watch what I'm doing, watch my timing, watch how I'm always trying to make sure I'm right there in time to, you see I'm just kind of waiting, now I'll wait for him, Dex, and you see how I kind of hesitated a little bit. I'll hesitate a little bit between my hits sometimes while he's still stunned to make sure I can keep my combo going while the hot potato Bane switches on over so I could switch it immediately right on back. Or add those specials right to the end of it to light longer. Again, as I mentioned previously in 525, those kind of long-winded specials could be very, very helpful because that's a longer period of time. So if you're trying to do a combo, the timer's getting ready to end, the timer hasn't ended yet and you run out of combo, you chain that special. Longer specials can give you more time in order to keep going while the Bane switches to switch it back to the defender. Now as we're going to Yondu, I'm going to try to be careful here. I'm going to try to bait out his S1s. You're going to notice when I fight Yondu, in addition to working around, remember when you're fighting Bane, fight around the Bane timer. But in addition to this, you want to be able to try to parry to make it simpler. You see how I chained the S2 there? Because of the timer right there to make sure. So you'll see me do 4-hit combos. Sometimes I fight some champs like that who you can't really dex close up or not as reliable. I'll do 4 hits, dash back, let them dash in, and parry, and then go from there. I'll fight like Domino and some others a similar way, make it simple to keep a parry going. And normally I wouldn't mind, like you see in a lot of my other walkthroughs going in on chapter 5, I'll be doing the intercept, be doing the heavy Bane and all that. When I'm dealing with the Bane timer and when I'm trying to have a full team for the collector up, I don't really want to take those risks. I just want to play safe and sound. Now we're going to get into that nebula and the degrading going down. One thing that does throw me off sometimes with Ultron, as much as I do like his little evade timer, I'm looking at Bane timer, I'm looking at the defender power, I'm looking at all of this other crazy stuff, and sometimes I'll lose track of his evade counter. So I'll try to think I'm doing a parry, and he starts evading on me. I'm like, come on, I hate one of my champs evade when I'm not ready for them to evade when I'm trying to do a parry or something. Like, come on. So you'll see that occasionally, but hopefully I try to keep an eye on it. But one reason why Ultron has been so so good for me in Act 5 is his sustainability, those regenerations. You get like extra lives constantly. You will see me time things very specifically around his health between that 50% and the 25% health revives, and that's what really keeps him so sustainable and why I brought him along with Angela to just get me through the quest, because I strongly believe the two of them and their sustainability and just their overall fighting can get me through every single fight all the way up to the collector, so I don't have, and probably hopefully at decent health, so I do not have to use my other champs. I do not want to use my other 3 champs at all on this path. And I also want to have both Ultron and Angela available for some fighting in the collector, as I plan on doing a group committee approach. Just take as much out, have each champ I can take out as much out as I can. They get knocked out, bring in the next one. I'm hoping between the 5 of them that should work. I just need an average of 20% each for the 5 for that strategy to work, and I believe it is doable even with 4 stars. On Gamora here, I'll try to dex out her S1 because it's kind of a shorter range. If I do push her to an S2, I'll try to have a step back so I don't accidentally get clipped. And over here with Ultron, I see watching that Bane timer, timing that off, added that S2 and just finish her off. So far my strategy has been easy breezy, moving on through, rocking and rolling. But I do need to be careful here. Black Widow can quickly punish you, can quickly cause mistakes. So as Black Widow comes in, I'm going to be extremely cautious with her because her occasional evades will tear you up. Also, doesn't always get stunned on the parry, will tear you up. So I'm going to be methodical, slow. You see, try to go for the parry there. Didn't stun her, so I would try not to rush in. I'm going to try to pause in between. I'm willing to take a little bit of extra block damage here to avoid losing my Ultron and avoid making any mistakes. Got my regeneration going on, which I know is always a nice safety net for him. See some evades going in. I just got myself cornered though, unfortunately, and I got to get this finally baited that S2. I did take a little clip on the end, but now I got to create some space between the Bane timer, which I see I need to hit her. There we go. Tagged her back on over. And between her occasional not getting stunned on parries and occasional evades. Just don't underestimate Black Widow, because when you're not paying attention or if you blink, she can tear you up. But I got through her decently. I did lose a little bit of more health than I would have liked. They're taking a lot more block damage than I would have liked, but I'd rather take that block damage, go down a tiny bit, and still have my Ultron to be able to help me finish off the path than have risked losing him. Because one combo of her on a 4-star and he's done, pretty much. Meaning one evade. But in the meantime, we got Daredevil Classic. Big thing remember here, one reason I did not bring Ultron for this fight is because his special projectiles can go ahead and get mystery baited by Daredevil Classic, so I don't want to risk getting forgetful, as I sometimes, especially when you're dealing with timers, any time of timers always kind of throw me a little bit here and there, and because I tend to focus on them. And don't want to get forgetful along the way. As we are looking at the timer, I need to change the S2 to that to ensure that I immediately switch that Bane back over. And again, watch these little things. Watch how I'm playing Bane. Watch how Bane is a Bane for the defender and is a good thing for me. The way we play it. Take these little tips and tricks I discussed in 525 and a little bit in this one as well to get you through it. And now we're going to go to Spider-Gwen. I am thinking here, I know my Ultron is just a snippet below 50% health, so I want to get him up to 50% health, and so I got the regeneration. I figured this should be good. I'm going to use one. I got level 3 health potions expiring out the wazoo anyways, so I'm going to go ahead and use one here. That will get him over 50%. I'm double checking my math here, and Spider-Gwen is another one I have to be careful of. I'm going to be looking on here. I don't want to get evaded. I didn't bring an evade counter, so what I'm doing is I'm doing parry, medium, and light combos for the most part. That way I am only attacking. We've seen unblockable special one. I forgot to click on the node there, but based on that, she has unblockable special one. It can be a little clunky sometimes, so be careful when that special one comes out. One special one against my 4 stars will probably pretty much end this fight, so I will be very careful of that. If nothing else, can push her to S2 as well. which I don't believe would be unblockable as well. My strategy with Ultron has been flawless thus far, 0 mistakes. And when coming out of here, higher health than I went in. You always gotta love that. Now, this is what it comes down to. My strategy has worked. I got a full team of mostly full health champs, which is exactly what I need. You cannot look at the champion, at the abilities for this until you fight him once, but let's look at the nodes. The Bane, the aggressive champion boost. Okay, so nothing has changed here. Here's his abilities. I copied this off of another site. We see Elder Psychology, the regeneration buff. We see his abilities. We see different abilities come up between 85%, 70%, 55%, 40, 25, and 10% to include overload, to include immunity, to stun, and many other items. So you can look at that. We have special attacks, 5% increased power gain each time launches a special. We see his passives, his special 1 stun, special 2 launching siphons up the power meter, and special 3 is instantly going to knock out. So I copy that off another site, which is why they look clunky, because you cannot pull them up yet until you fight. I want just the mystery and who it is. Oh no. Years later, we don't know who it is. This is going to be the first time I've used boost in any of these walkthroughs, but to try to make sure I get done what I want, I'm just going to use the small boost ones I have expiring anyways, just a couple of them for the attack purpose. This is why I brought White Magneto, okay? Magneto here, I brought our Magneto House of X also. I didn't mean to bring him in the fight. I got a little ahead of myself and I accidentally brought him in. I was just trying to do his pre-fight, and then partway through after doing his pre-fight, I forgot what I was doing. So I had mentioned before, I got 5 champs. I need to get 20% off per champ. Well, White Magneto or House of X just got 3%. I mean, I need somebody to do some seriously making up. But I really brought that House of X Magneto for AA here, because now I got the pre-fight, the tenacity. Tenacity is something Collector has to shrug off the stuns. With this pre-fight, I should be able to avoid that tenacity when I'm doing the stun for the passive ability, and I could do parry heavy. So that is why I brought him. He did nothing this entire quest. Entire thing is to take 3% off the Collector. Thanks so much. But his pre-fight is going to be invaluable right here, as we see. I told you after 20% I need each. We see Archangel here. AA is doing well above that 20% average I needed. I know I'm not going to survive a special, probably with a 4-star, so I'm just going to get as much as I can right there. And AA came into this fight with collecting my 4-star AA. At that came into this fight with the health at 97%, got him down to 36%. That is some, what is that, about 61%? Correct me if my math is wrong. I'm not breaking down no calculators now. I'm overthinking here. That was some great stuff. That was a 4-star AA. You bring in a higher AA with that Magneto House of X, you're going to solo this fight easily. But now I brought Magic in as my backup. I brought her in because I figured if I could get her to an S2, then I should be able to control his power and should be able to control him. But the trick is, am I going to be able to get to an S2? And based on that unblockable special that I barely survived, that stun got me. No, I did not. So unfortunately, my backup to AA did not work the way I was hoping it would. But that's why I wanted to have my 2 workhorses have some decent health in case my top 2 options didn't work. I knew they might need to finish it off. All I need to do is get a little bit of hits going on. I don't need a whole lot from Angela here. I just need her to get him down into low, and he did some unstoppable on me. I wasn't expecting unstoppable. That is some of those extra benefits he gets as his health percentage changes. But right now I see it. I'm almost down to single digits. I am just going to unload whatever I can, knowing I won't survive a special, and get whatever I can. And 9%. So S3, well, I'm only at 19%, but it's instant death anyways, and therefore she's done. So I got 1 champ left, and I got the Collector down to 9%. Are we going to get our way through it? Ultron, if you've been seeing me use Ultron, you know I'm pretty happy right now. If I have any champs left to finish this fight, this is a good one. I go ahead, Dex out of that heavy. I'm seeing some damage going down, and look at this. We are looking sweet, and boom, down goes the Collector. Take that, sucker. That's what we got. That's how we roll. So we did it. We got through all of 5-1, all of 5-2 with only 4 stars, no revives used whatsoever. 1 or 2 health pots here and there, very few, and a little bit of small boost on the collector. Got through the collector, no revives, did it. So I'm hoping this helped you. I'm hoping to use all these walkthroughs to get you to Uncollected. If you did, congratulations. Knew you could do it. Don't forget to click the top left icon, subscribe to MCOC, Al Bundy Rules, turn those notifications on. Check my stuff out. I got a little something for everyone.